this. I remember coming off. Remember Bolton away? We were 2-0 up. Right, it was one of my first 5 or 6 games or something. It was quite early. Bolton away. We were 2-0 up by half time, or 1 or 2-0 up by half time. And I remember coming off, and Giggsy was next to me, and we were almost kind of off. It just clicked, and we were flying. And Giggsy came off, and I was like, I didn't know whether this was normal or not. And I was like, and he went, Paul, I went, bad was it that? And I thought, well, if you're saying it, it must have been. And I felt unbelievable coming at half time, and the gaffer went nuts, like nuts. And I was like, whoa, 2-0 up. And it was purely just to keep us on our toes. Again, go back to comfortable. Don't be comfortable because you're not pushing yourself
enough. Goal difference will lose you the championship, you said, remember?
And then went nuts, didn't he? And then we ended up winning 4-0 or something, or 4-1 or whatever.
We'll get back to Carrick in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And as ever, if something is on your mind, if something is bubbling up inside of you that you need to express, please express it in the comments. Big D reads all of the comments, and he's always interested in what is on your mind. Anyway, in this clip, Michael Carrick, the most underrated midfielder in Manchester United's history, gives his thoughts on Cristiano Ronaldo, playing and coaching him. And he also, it's just told us in that first little clip there about what life was like during that amazing period between 06 and 09, really, because it lasted quite a long time. And those were, the golden years of Manchester United. And I've lived through all of Fergie's years. That was probably the best. Anyway, stick around for after the clip, because the Big D is going to be giving his thoughts on what Carrick had to say. Here he is.
Always the case.
Cristiano, you're one of the only people that's actually coached him and played with him.
There was a hell of a buzz around the place when he came back. When it was an incredible kind of feeling around those games, and then him coming back, and it was just seeing him back around the building was weird. But it was so there's definitely, then for me, from a coaching point of view, I was really conscious of then treating him very different to when I would treat some of the younger players, or the ones that really intense, trying to help a lot and trying to develop them. He's at the end where he is what he is, and you respect what he is, and we give him a few kind of pointers for the team. But it was really, you're not going to coach him. There's no way I'm coaching him about his runs or where to finish. Like,
you should have hit his side foot instead of drilling it.
Certainly, definitely work with him and what we can work with things. But it's a totally different element of coaching to say what I was coaching with some of the other boys, where you're trying to really give them some help and advice and improve them a lot. It's just incredible what he's done. Incredible what he's done. I mean, for me, that first year when I signed, he didn't score as many goals, but it was 2006, 2007, and he played right wing. He was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then he got a taste of scoring goals after that. And then he changed it, and he scored 40 odd goals the next year. But honestly, really, that first season, after he come back from the World Cup with him in Wazza, when he was on that right wing as an all-round player, I don't think I've seen that before.
I have this conversation a lot with people. A lot of people talk about
But Ronaldo. He gets judged on the goals, right?
Exactly. He's only a goal scorer.
Yeah, but that season, that was one of them where I'm playing thinking, well, this is just an absolute dream to play in a team like that. Team was, I know he didn't win the Champions League that year, but that first team, that football for that first few months I was like, this is. I remember coming up. Remember Bolton away? We were 2-0 up. Right, it was one of my first 5 or 6 games or something. It was quite early. Bolton away. We were 2-0 up by half time, or 1 or 2-0 up by half time. And I remember coming off, and Giggsy was next to me, and we were almost kind of off. It just clicked, and we were flying. And Giggsy came off, and I was like, I didn't know whether this was normal or not. And I was like, and he went, Paul, I went, bad was it that? And I thought, well, if you're saying it, it must have been. And I felt unbelievable coming at half time, and the gaffer went nuts, like nuts. And I was like, whoa, 2-0 up. And it was purely just to keep us on our toes. Again, go back to comfortable. Don't be comfortable because you're not pushing yourself enough.
Goal difference will lose you the championship, you said, remember?
And then went nuts, didn't he? And then we ended up winning 4-0 or something, or 4-1 or whatever. But that time, that football, for me, that we played at that time was like me coming into the team, I was like, wow, this is just an absolute. I couldn't even leave my look. Coming into a team like that, it was just beautiful. Like so just dreams, you know what I mean? And Ronnie was that right wing, Giggsy left wing, Bazza, Louis. And it was just relentless.
Did he
incredible.
tactically? What was he like then? Because you played nearer to him then. I've got my own views, but what like you're playing someone who's a bit more connected to him in
Purely on
the
Ronnie.
team. Yeah. What was he like tactically? Although when you watched him, he was going, "This is the pure entertainer. This is George Best reincarnated." All the accolades he was getting. What was he like to play with tactically?
I think that first year, I think he was. That's what I mean. I think there's a more rounded, and I'm not totally disrespecting Ronnie at all because he's incredible, one of the best as ever. But I think he was a really rounded player in terms of playing his position, doing job both ways, disciplined, responsible, and then obviously went and scored goals, which ended up making the difference for us winning things. So he was different. But I think that first year, he was at his best for me because of that as a rounded player, and defensively, Gaz was. He's pumped that for that first 6 months, and then he got injured after Christmas, didn't he? But at that time, it was kind of a well drilled, and he was part of that well drilled unit at that point. And then he went on to score more goals, so then that took away a little bit from that. But we were accepting of that. I'd do more work for that, no problem at all. That's where you all become a bit of a team and fitting around it. And he was the little bit on top, and even Wazza was so unselfish and sacrificed himself so much.
What were the other players like in second time round when he came? Because you were in there, so it's quite interesting to hear your thoughts. But I always thought that when he came back to United, it wasn't just about football. You could utilise him for the experience he has, and the young, especially attacking players, feed off that, be sponges. What were they intimidated by him, or were they?
I think there was a genuine buzz from
Yeah.
when he came back. I think everyone was buzzing to see what he was going to bring in. And listen, he had to manage himself a little bit more. He was smarter then in terms of his body and training wise, and how much he needed to push himself. Not push himself, but he still scored
20
goals. Yeah, he still scored goals. Yeah, and I'm sure the boys learned off him by just sometimes like we learned at the time of other players. You learn by watching a lot of the time, and they don't always have to need to tell you things. It's more of the experience of being around it.
Because a lot was made of his pressing, and I was just thinking he's got 20 something goals out. But was that like something in house you was like concerned about, or it was just?
Nah, listen. There's obviously parts of it where you're trying, and it's not always an individual thing. You're trying to put the team together, and you've got things that you're trying to work on, and but he scored goals. You know, that's what he was always going to score. He always has, and he's continuing to do it. You know, it's what he does.
He's just drilled on goals.
Yeah.
Now.
Do you know, it's really interesting. He said that about Cristiano Ronaldo in terms of in the 06-07 season. That was the season where he was at his best as an all-round player, and that he did all of his work in terms of getting forward and also getting back. I just can't imagine Cristiano Ronaldo tracking back and defending. It's bizarre, you know, but I do remember that season myself personally, because, you know, I used to go and watch them quite regularly during, you know, that era between 06. I think I started going to see them because I lived near the ground. Was it 06 or was it 07? Yeah. Between 06 and 08. I would regularly go because I used to live literally just down the road from the stadium, and it was great. And during that time, you know, I got to basically meet Cristiano before he became world famous, and I got him to sign my shirt. It was really cool, and that was when he was just breaking through as a world-class footballer, and he was electrifying. That season, it was weird because prior to that, he was kind of a frustrating, kind of tricky winger that wouldn't pass to Ruud van Nistelrooy enough. And Ruud was my favourite player of all time up until that point, or certainly one of them. And I used to love to see him score. And when people didn't pass to him, which Cristiano didn't, it used to be quite frustrating. And I used to think Ronaldo was a good player, but I never really thought of him as a world-class player at that point. But then all of a sudden, almost overnight, he became this absolute world beater, and it was really fun to watch because we used to batter teams on the counter attack. And then he got a taste for scoring goals, and it was actually after that first season, after he made his breakthrough, after Carra's first season actually, because I remember watching another podcast or interview with René Meulenstein, Ferguson's assistant, and he said after that 06-07 season, after they won the league and Cristiano scored about 23 goals or whatever, René Meulenstein pulled him to one side and took him into the the video room or whatever, and said, how many goals do you want to score this next season for the 07-08 season? And he says, I don't know, 30. And René Meulenstein looked at him and went, and Cristiano went, what, 40? And he says, you're going to score 40 goals this season. And he showed him videos of Van Nistelrooy, York, Cole, Solskjaer, Cantona, all these guys. And he showed him video after video after video. And he said, what do you see? Tell me what you see. And Cristiano was like, oh, beautiful goals, beautiful goals, beautiful goals. Check it out. I'm pretty sure I've done a video about this in my backlog. And he says, well, watch it again. So he watched it again, and he asked him, what do you see? And it dawned on him. And they were scoring tap-ins, they were scoring headers, they were scoring all these unorthodox kinds of goals. They weren't just long 40-yard screamers or anything like that. And that's when the penny dropped for Cristiano. And then after that, he bagged 42 goals from the wing. He was absolutely amazing. But I didn't enjoy watching Cristiano Ronaldo as much in the 07-08 season, bizarrely. Because, I think he became more obsessed with the goals. And because of that, I think he relied a lot more on players like Wayne Rooney and Carlos Tevez at the time as well. Because as much as he was fun to watch in that 06-07 season, where he was just blitzing teams on the counter-attack, and it was fantastic. In the 07-08 season, I remember watching him and thinking he gave the ball away a lot. And that was just infuriating. And especially at that point, Wayne Rooney was my favourite player. I'd watch Wayne Rooney sacrifice himself for the team, and pass him the ball and give him goal scoring opportunities. He would miss, but then on his last attempt, he'd score a screamer and get the winning goal, and he'd get all the plaudits and all of that. But Wayne Rooney, to me, didn't get enough credit. I mean, he did get a lot of credit, Wayne Rooney, don't get me wrong, and he was always appreciated by the fans, but it was Ronaldo fever. It wasn't Wayne Rooney fever. And I suppose that just shows you the sacrifice that Wayne Rooney made. Wayne Rooney sacrificed his status as being a Ballon d'Or winner, basically, so that Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo could, achieve what they achieved. Whereas, Wayne Rooney could quite easily have said to Fergie, no, I'm playing up front. I want everything passed through me. I'm going to be the main man of this team. And he would have been. And he would have scored goals. And Man United would have still won Champions Leagues and leagues and whatnot. But he didn't do that. He sacrificed himself for the team. He didn't care so long as the team scored goals and won. And fair enough. Look, listen, I'm just sort of being a contrarian a little bit here. At the end of the day, Cristiano Ronaldo did a lot for us in that first season. That first stint at the club. He shouldn't have come back, though. He shouldn't have come back. He wasn't... The thing is, in that first sort of stint, you can get away with not scoring the goals. You can get away with missing chances and not working hard for the team so long as you score a volume of goals and the team wins. And Cristiano Ronaldo was good enough back then to have the team carry him to the point where they could just feed him and everything just feeds right through him. But the second time round, first of all, the team wasn't as good as it was previously. And secondly, Cristiano just wasn't the player that he used to be. So they couldn't justify building the team around him, especially when we had a player that was better than him at the time in Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes and the rest of the team had to sacrifice themselves for Cristiano Ronaldo, which ultimately got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the sack, really. Whereas if he just kept the team built around Bruno Fernandes, I mean, he would have scored 25 goals and got 30 assists like he did the season before. But anyway, that's by the by. Ole's not there anymore. Cristiano's not there anymore. Bruno's still there, and I think we all appreciate Bruno Fernandes now, especially after last season as well. But yeah, look, listen, I'm being a contrarian, as I say. That era with Michael Carrick, Paul Scholes, Cristiano, Tevez, Rooney, all those guys. I mean, it was just an absolute joy to watch Manchester United back then. And I'll tell you what, I mean, that is not only the greatest team in Manchester United's history, that is the greatest team in, I would say, English football history. It's better than any Man City team. It's better than any Liverpool team. Better than any Chelsea team. And well, I mean, it proved itself against the greatest team in Chelsea's history. It beat them in the Champions League final in the 07-08 season for a start. And it beat them to league titles. But yeah, it beats any Pep Guardiola City team. And it was just unlucky. It was so good. It was unlucky to not become the greatest team of its generation. Like a couple of years later, when the great Barcelona team of 09 to 11 sort of broke through, I mean, they got a lot of luck. Now, I've talked about this on previous videos, so I'm not going to go too much into it now. But yeah, it was very close to that team, in my opinion. Anyway, what do you guys think? What are your favourite memories from Cristiano back in the day? And do you think he really should have come back? Because I don't. But either way, thoughts in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments. He's always interested in what is on your mind and looks forward to seeing your comments. And he will see you in the next one. Ciao.